Wei Yi is ready for the final and has qualified. And one of these two will join him. Levon Aronian is up by 1 point. This is a must-win situation for Jan Christoph Duda in Game 4. And here we go.
Must-win situation, and it's the Queen's Gambit. It's the Queen's Gambit accepted. Black is 1 pawn up temporarily. And not the most common variation, but they did debate this, this line in a game earlier already today. This last knight move by Black, allowing White to get the pawn back. And I slightly prefer White's chances. White has a nice central pawn there. But is it enough? That is the big question. Levon's playing so quickly. It's clear, I think, in the break between the games, Duda has gone away. He's studied this, or maybe he's had one of his coaches, one of his seconds look at this and think, and they've told him, just go for this against Levon. You have an advantage, or at least you get a playable position in a must-win situation.
And this knight retreat, it seems to be a new move. So
novelty.
Definitely. And now you can see this is why Levon pauses and he has to work out the subtleties. Why is White playing this move? I mean, what is the plan?
Is it typical that we see these novelties in these must-win games, that he has something special prepared for those situations?
Yeah, you normally want to save your best stuff for the biggest moments, right? The biggest occasions where there's, you know, prizes, there's money, there's Miami on the line.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looks pretty nice for White. I like this central pawn. At some point, it might step forward later. White's 4 versus 3 advantage on the right half. It's easier to mobilise than Black's majority on the other flank for now. Simon, I guess you like the potential of
yeah, definitely. I mean,
White's pawns.
This is the only move I was a bit fearful of. I thought if I was Black, I'd love to swap the queens off, because I think the long-term attacking potential of those 4 pawns you mentioned is great. I mean, at some point, you know, you can start pushing them all up the board, and an ideal situation to have, I think, for Duda. I think he's picked a very, very good opening so far, and I mean, should have exchanged queens there. It's still some problems, actually. So I would say this is, yeah, good novelty. I mean, a nice position to have so far for White.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes those are the best novelties, not kind of groundbreaking sacrifices here or there. It's just a simple knight retreat. White's knights defend each other right now, and one of the White knights supports the central pawn. So it's just coordinating the pieces, I guess. And I wouldn't be surprised if, as you mentioned, he starts kind of preparing to launch his kingside pawns forward, or at least the White F pawn forward. Not yet, because it would make the White king vulnerable, but over the next few moves.
Bar slightly over to Duda's side. He has to win this game to take it to tie breaks. Any other result means Levon Aronian goes through to the final, and he's such an experienced player, Levon. Do you think he gets stressed at all in this situation?
He's been there. He's done it a few times. And, I mean, he is one of the kings of knockout chess. If we talk about world chess, so he's won 2 World Cups. I don't think anyone else has ever done that. 2 World Cups. So it's, I mean, these massive knockouts, 128 players, all the best players in the world are there, and he's won it twice.
Wow.
Duda's won it once, hasn't he?
Duda's won it once.
By beating Magnus in the final, which was incredible. Or semi-final, right? Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, I remember once having a chat with Levon, and I was asking him this question, you know, do you ever feel stressed? Do you ever feel the pressure? And he said, absolutely not.
Wow.
And not, you know, especially when he gets added time on the clock, you know, he doesn't worry at all. He trusts his instincts. And there we have a little pawn move from Duda. And once again, Aronian has to take a pause, and he has to consider whether to trade queens or perhaps to find a home, a safe home for the light-squared bishop.
Yeah, there's some small problems there, aren't there, David? I mean, like, this pawn structure is great when you need to win, because you've unbalanced the pawn structure. I mean, the more symmetrical a pawn structure is, the more likely a draw it's going to be. And just the fact that White's got these, well, they're ready to roll very soon up the board is gonna worry Aronian. I mean, he might not be stressed, but he's got to deal with that move that David's highlighted there, just kicking the knights away, and then you can kick the next knight away with the other pawn, and they can just come straight up the board. So it's tricky for Lev to play, I think, and very easy for White to play.
He has 1 move in his pocket, because unfortunately you can't push the pawns just now. But it is definitely in the air. So you have to prepare it for one move. I think you can get your dark square bishop out.
Yeah, if you push it now, I guess that black, I don't know if you flick in a check or do you flick in this rook move to attack the white queen. Still slightly tempted to push it now, but yeah, maybe at the very least you could bring your rook across. And yeah, you will jump in with the black knight, potentially. Maybe you jump this way even, sometimes to sacrifice a piece. But yeah, Jovanka, you're advocating just bring the bishop out to this square.
Yeah, complete development, have that threat that Simon highlighted in the air, because that is such a menacing pawn push. And
Goes for it immediately.
He wants blood.
Impatient.
I thought this
Duda.
wasn't possible. I thought that, you know, the check...
Oh!
What was the bar
Look at
just...
that.
What happened to the bar?
Well, some of the ideas, I think David mentioned about this piece sacrifice. I mean, Lev might be forced to sacrifice a piece, only needing a draw. And I think this is the key idea, isn't it? I mean, at some point.
Yeah, for example, with the check, already if the king steps forward, this could be painful for Duda. The knight could jump forward now, for example, with a check. And already we could see a miniature with some checkmating ideas. The king now trapped on the edge of the board. First, Levon flicked in a rook move. Jovanka, you're surprised by something here?
Yeah, because I peeked. I accidentally peeked, and I saw that this actually wasn't possible. There was only one move. Duda's move, just sidestepping the threat, isn't actually a good move.
Okay.
The only move for white to maintain the balance is actually to play queen takes rook.
Whoa.
And that's like, whoa.
White's best move was to give up the queen for the rook and then win the black knight. But I guess there's some pressure along this diagonal, but surely this wouldn't be enough to hold the balance. Instead, he didn't even consider that, Duda. He just moved his queen out the way, and why is this not possible? That's the big question. It's a check. The king moves, and rather than jump into this square yet, he jumped in with this knight. Oh, my God, this is going to be killer, right? If white steps forward with this pawn, the black knight jumps in here.
Whoa.
And the knights are just going to jump and conquer this square with a nasty check. White's pieces are just asleep on the other side. And, of course, if this knight is captured again, whoops, this is checkmate.
I think that knight jump's coming whatever, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
I mean anything you play, and...
Yeah. Nice.
And could we see...
Is he just self-destructing, Duda?
I was going to say, are we going to see Duda lose this game in less than 20 moves?
We could.
It's possible. But I don't know if we rarely see that at this level. But you called it, Jovanka. You said this move was premature, and it's very tempting when you're in a must-win situation to play a little bit too aggressively. And he needed to cover those dark squares because those knights, they're like jumping around like crazy rabbits, aren't they? They're just like going straight for the king. The queen's coming in. All the black's pieces are fantastic here, and I don't really know what you can do here even to survive. I mean, you have to not take the knight when it comes in, give up the exchange.
I mean, this pawn's even attacked. I mean,
oh dear.
This is just...
Can you do anything here, or are you just completely lost? Can you go, for example, move the bishop to attack that knight and just give up the exchange and just... But, I mean, playing this when you need to win is just disgusting, though.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, here you can win the exchange, as you mentioned, Simon, a check, and white probably has to give up a rook for it, and black has won material. But, yeah, what else in the current position? It's just disaster for Duda. I mean, how much would he love to have Jovanka's move on the board now? How much would he love to have his bishop covering all the dark squares? But he can't have access to this square anymore. Look at Duda. He's realised it's all over already.
Move 15.
Yeah. He's self-destructed. You know, he lashed out. He's so desperate to win that, unfortunately, he attacked when he was not ready.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to find a miracle here, and he's got to hope that Lev self-destructs. I mean, it's the only option, and it's that using the time correctly. Very tempting to do what he did. You know, it looks like an obvious move, but there was a bit of lack of sense of danger on his behalf there, because the Black Knight, as David is showing, it just has too many good squares. I mean, it can take a pawn, it can jump in and go for the kill right near the king with that lovely queen coming in as well. The threats are ginormous here.
I mean, there's multiple threats in multiple angles, multiple different pieces jumping. Yeah, it's just over. And this reminds me as well of a game that Levon Aronian once won against Vishy Anand. Just similar, where white's king was tucked in the corner, and then there was this kind of X-ray from one of the bishops along this diagonal. And this is a common pattern, right? If this diagonal is covered and your king's in the corner, you often end up getting checkmated, or at least some bad stuff will happen.
Do you reckon Aronian's thinking, Viva Miami? is he starting to think about the bright lights of Miami?
Yeah.
He looks very happy, Levon.
Yeah, he does. Look at that. Yeah, Miami. What shirt am I going to wear on the beach there? I've got a fair few. Is it the Bermuda one with a cat, or is it the...
You must never...
Never do that.
Never do that.
No.
I love the English expression. I don't know whether any other country has it, like, never count your chickens before they hatch.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
No, it's the biggest mistake in chess to relax, because as soon as you do that, you lose your concentration. I mean, don't do that.
Yeah, because that's what we've talked about. Like in a football game, you can concede a goal, but you can still win. But here, if you make one wrong move, you lose the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're playing one of the best players in the world, they will not let you off the hook.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely not. And whilst Duda is scrambling for good defensive moves or anything just to keep the game alive, well, we are running a selfie competition. Yes. And we are asking, how are you watching the tour? Show us your pictures. And Dmitry Stanislav says that they're watching from home and learning a lot. That's the best chess summer ever.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you, Dmitry, for watching. And Rahul is rooting for Levon Aronian and says it's a delight to watch the show. So thank you very much, Rahul. And we also have Amodu watching from his office in Nigeria.
All over the world.
And there we have some moves on the board.
Yep, so white did indeed go for maybe the most obvious move in the position. White has fully expanded in the centre, but as we showed, that black knight has jumped in. Both the black knights now, I mean, they're like octopuses? What's the plural of octopus?
Octopi. I think it is octopi, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
But either way, yeah, they've just got their tentacles around. I mean, there are some checks in the air. For example, black's attacking now with 2 knights and 1 bishop. Why not bring the other bishop into the attack?
Yeah.
And
you can still go wrong when your position's so good.
Yeah, that's the only problem, right?
Another natural move here to me would be to bring the queen in, right? I mean, I want to get the queen in. It looks so tempting, but this is really strong move. And I mean, is there any way that Duda can sacrifice the exchange and fight here? That bishop is lining up against the queen as well.
Yeah.
Oh my words, it gets worse.
So knight takes bishop now, which looks like you're getting out of the firing line. Nope, black will not recapture. Black will flick in a check. And next move, the queen drops. That is painful. So not just the king under fire, the queen too. So this diagonal, you need to keep it kind of blocked. But yeah, again, just to show, this is still a checkmate. So the knight is poisoned, the king caught in the corner. I mean, I'm struggling to see, do we have to move the knight in this direction?
Maybe you have to do this.
Just to hit the bishop and guard your own knight.
But then the knight comes to f2 anyway, and you have to give up the exchange and be attacked in a hopeless situation.
To give up a rook, you have to hide your king. I mean, you couldn't take the black knight because of this pin. I mean, at the very, very least, black just drops back and says, try getting out of this one.
Yeah.
And look at Duda, he looks almost ready to resign.
Yeah. And now we have a check. And
down on material and with a dead lost position.
Yeah. But sometimes it's too embarrassing to resign, right? I mean, like, it's too quick. You want to make it to move 30. It's too painful, right, to resign, I think.
Yeah.
20 is my golden number, actually. Yeah. I would feel very embarrassed if I lost before move 20, and I have been lost before move 20, and I was like, please let me find moves to get to that magical number.
He gives up his queen, Duda.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Desperation.
I mean...
he only has 2 knights for that queen.
Wow.
Problem is, he's still getting attacked.
I mean, I shouldn't laugh, but, you're queen down and you're getting mated. It ain't funny.
No.
You have to give him credit for going all in this game. He had to win it.
Yeah,
exactly.
He did give it a shot.
This would never happen if he just, if the scores were level, if it wasn't a crunch game. for him. But yeah, Levon just too good in this one. And yeah, it won't be a miniature. We define a miniature as like a quick, flashy win because it's over 20 moves now.
Okay.
But yeah, the survival won't last much longer.
And another one comes. Oh.
It's just blow after blow after blow.
Relentless stuff here.
Yeah, it's like you're punching your opponent while he's already on the floor.
Such a brutal game.
It is.
That's simply a double attack against the 2 white knights, and
Good Duda.
I think he can resign, actually, now.
en passant here, capturing this pawn as if it just moved 1 square with white's e-pawn doesn't help because black's queen on the e-file will pick up one of the white knights. You just have to...
going to resign?
Yeah.
Yeah, any moment.
By the way, we've been told that octopi is not the correct one by chess numbers, but octopuses and octopodes, octopodes are acceptable, but not octopi.
OK, does
Just in
octopi
case.
not exist?
No, apparently not.
OK.
But octopuses is, yeah,
Octopuses.
that's a safe one.
We thought we were so clever there.
I know, octopi, yeah. Trying to bluff it out there. There's always someone.
Why is it like Tempe? And then...
It's only our first language. I mean, we should...
I know.
OK, and we have some moves. I mean...
Duda saved one of his knights. He traded it off for black's bishop, but still a queen down for just a bishop and knight. Not only that, but black's rook on the 3rd rank is going to go gathering. It's going to go crazy and just grab some pawns. Oh, it steps back. Slightly surprising.
He doesn't need to, right? He's going, I want full control over the position. The other rook will also line itself up in the centre. Control.
Levon doesn't even look happy. He just maybe feels a bit bad for Duda.
I think so.
But we have an update.
Oof.
Octopi makes sense because a lot of similar words of Latin origin can be pluralized.
Pluralised.
It's been a long time.
Whatever. Yeah, so chess numbers is giving us some good info in the Chess 24 chat. So and they're having a debate about the.
So we're going to call them octopies.
Yeah.
No, octopi.
Octopuses,
No.
maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
I did see a lovely, well, it was quite funny tweet where it says they were a bit shocked that none of us knew whether Neil Young was alive or dead. They thought,
Pretty sure he was alive.
I thought he was alive. It was just Simon putting some...
Well, I thought most of these rock stars, they don't last long, do they? I mean, like, if you get over 27, you're doing well.
Yeah, that's
so,
fair.
yeah.
All right, well, Levon Aronian, he is with almost 2 feet now in Miami, ready to play in that major, but also in the final tomorrow against Wei Jan-Christoph Duda. He is still playing. Is he just trying to reach move 30?
Yeah, he's, I think, just coming to terms emotionally with the fact that he will be leaving this tournament now. And it could have been so different. But, yeah, sometimes in chess, especially when you've had a bit of a bad game, a bit of a bad day, you don't want to kind of admit that. You should move on, you have to move on. But, yeah, here, unfortunately, the black rooks are just too strong. They're coming in, Duda, gesturing. He's like, what else can I do? What have I done?
Yeah, the queen's too good. I mean, there's
too many targets for her.
Just too good. I mean, yeah, it's a bit horrible to see, you know, after such a great day of chess that, you know, Duda go down like that because he's such a fantastic player and you rarely see him lose like this. I mean,
and it is over.
Yeah.
Jan-Christoph Duda loses in 26 move. Levon Aronian is ready for the final, his first final this season in the Meltwater Championship.